travel is an amazingly cool thing at the end of the day, right? It's this joyous occasion for a lot of folks. They have 2 weeks a year where they get to go do something fun. How do we focus folks back on the fun of that? And I think as we're starting to feel folks coming out of the recession, folks are feeling a little bit more, they're more willing to take those vacations and actually get a little bit more aggressive in terms of their spending. We want to make sure that we're there to help them make the vacations everything that they can be.
And we were talking a little bit before we started rolling the cameras about a new campaign that you guys have out. And tell us a little bit about what it is and how you came about in developing it.
What we saw was that the OTA space is really undifferentiated, a large part because our site design all looks very similar. But as well, we're just talking about price. I mean, everyone was talking about price.
Right.
And so consumers can't tell, Expedia from Travelocity from Orbitz.
They're just looking for a good hotel price and a good plane price and the lowest.
Right. And they literally don't even know when they're on one site or the other much of the time. And the other thing that struck us is when we looked at our target consumer, they really had this very emotional connection to travel. Travel is just very important to them. So we said, looking around, no one's really helping this traveler that, really has this deep relationship with travel get a quality trip and get more out of their trip. We also wanted to have a more authentic voice in the marketplace and really speak with a voice that really reflects who we are as a company, but then also the spirit of the vacationer, which is, again, travel is a joy, it's fun, it's why we do it. Vacations are fun, which is why we do it. That's why we at Orbitz are in the business. And so that's what we tried to reflect in our new brand voice.
And it's fun, we took a look at it before we started talking, and it's got a little bit of this take this job and shove it ethos to it. This, what I put up with not having my vacation for too many years now, I'm going to take it. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the spots themselves and how you guys developed them?
Sure, I mean, and you're hitting on too. I mean, we have these surveys where we've seen the data. It's something like Americans take, 57% of Americans take all their vacation every year compared to 90% of Europeans. So there's this big split in terms of, we're just not even taking all the vacations that we should. And so I think when we talked about how to take that into the spot, really wanted to focus on take your vacation back. So yes, it's take your vacation, but take it with gusto, right? And that's really what we're trying to reflect in the spot. And so I think when you see it, I think what it's really reflecting is the colorful, very vivid experiences that folks have when they think about travel, and really reflecting that in a spot that I think everybody can kind of relate to.
We the people will take our vacation days.
All of them. We the people will take our vacation days, all of them. And so we really want to, as this rallying cry, we wanted to bring that to the social, area as well. And so we are, on Facebook, we have a pledge where people can go to our Facebook page and that they can pledge to take all their vacation days. We're also, if you go to the Orbitz site, you will see a redesigned site, and within the site we're going to try to really get more of that spirit of the vacationer. So we refreshed all of the imagery. It's a much more colorful site. It's easily navigated and really reflects, kind of this joy of travel that we're trying to get.
It's really time to coincide with when folks are booking kind of those big vacation events, the summer vacations and those sorts of things. So the timing of it is also really critical. And again, that's one of those insights that we really learned last year about how to time these sorts of things.
And speaking of insights, what other stuff that you said you did a real deep dive on customer data? What else are you finding? Where are customers' heads these days?
There's a big trend right now going towards mobile. I mean, it's true for everybody, and it's certainly true for us. I mean, we've seen triple-digit growth in the last 2 years, both in terms of kind of the adoption of mobile. We're seeing, upwards of 6% of our visitors these days actually coming on an iPad. Which is really interesting. You see some interesting kind of demographics there too, where folks who come on an iPad, it probably reflects the underlying demographics of those users, have an average price that they're willing to pay for a hotel that's 23% higher than the typical consumer. Right. And so you start to see these things. You see a difference, for example, I think it's a $20 difference of a Mac user versus a PC user. And so what we're trying to do is take all these signals, which are fascinating just in isolation, they're fun to talk about, but actually put them into action and say, how do we actually inform our sort order based on a user? If they're coming from an iPad, they probably want to see some different inventory. And so we're trying to make sure that we reflect that when you get to the site. Also, somebody on the iPad, of course, they have a couple different ways that they can approach the site, right? One would be through our apps, which we have some really kind of neat apps that are out there for the iPhone and Android. We also have some hotels-only apps for the iPad and the iPhone. There's some really kind of neat features that you can do, obviously just taking advantage of the touch screen that kind of give you kind of a really rich experience that you can't always get from the desktop. But I'd say our theme really is how do we drive kind of a mobile-first strategy that's reflected in the site design as well.